The land of 99% conviction rates, forced confessions, and a justice system so perfect it never admits mistakes. Welcome to Japan. Until it does. Meet Iwao Hakamada, the world's longest-serving death row inmate who spent 46 years waiting to be executed for a crime he didn't commit. For nearly half a century, Japan hated this man, called him a murderer, and kept him in solitary confinement with the constant threat of death hanging over his head. But in 2024, something unthinkable happened. They admitted they were wrong. Today, I'm showing you how an entire nation was convinced to hate an innocent man, and why it took 58 years to clear his name. The perfect crime that never happens. In 1966, a fire destroyed a miso factory manager's home in Shizuoka, Japan. 4 bodies were found. The manager, his wife, and their 2 children, all stabbed to death. The police needed a suspect fast, and they found one working at the factory. Iwao Hakamada, a 30-year-old former professional boxer. He seemed like an easy target. Working class, no connections. Just a guy trying to make a living after his boxing career ended. The police arrested him and began 20 days of interrogation. No lawyer, no rest, just relentless pressure to confess. They beat him with sticks. They deprived him of sleep. They threatened him until he broke. After 20 days, Hakamada confessed. But the moment the interrogation stopped, he took it back. He said, "I didn't do it. They forced me to say those things. Nobody listened." The trial that decided everything in 1968. The Shizuoka District Court found Hakamada guilty based almost entirely on his forced confession. The judges even admitted the police interrogation tactics were problematic, but they sentenced him to death anyway. The Japan Pro Boxing Association cried foul, saying prejudice against boxers played a role. The media had already declared him guilty before the trial even ended. The principle of innocent until proven guilty was violated in spectacular fashion. Hakamada appealed. The Tokyo High Court rejected it. The Supreme Court upheld the death sentence in 1980. For the next several decades, Hakamada sat in a tiny cell, alone, waiting for the day guards would tell him, "Today is your execution day." The sister who refused to give up, while Japan moved on with its life, convinced justice had been served. One person never stopped fighting. Hideko, Hakamada's younger sister. For 46 years, she campaigned tirelessly, demanding a retrial. Demanding the truth, she became his voice when his own voice was silenced. In 2008, Hakamada requested a retrial. The Tokyo High Court denied it, stating there was no reasonable doubt of his guilt. His lawyer called it a decision handed down without much thought. The Japan Federation of Bar Associations called it an extremely deplorable miscarriage of justice, but Hideko didn't stop. The evidence that changed everything then in 2014. Something remarkable happened. New DNA evidence emerged. Blood found on clothing used as key evidence against Hakamada. The post-Shizuoka District Court found reason to believe evidence had been falsified, fabricated. The police had literally planted evidence to secure a conviction. After 46 years on death row, 88-year-old Hakamada was granted a retrial and immediately released in March 2014. But even then, the prosecution fought back. They appealed the retrial decision. For another 10 years, Hakamada waited in legal limbo, his fate still uncertain. Finally, in March 2023, the Tokyo High Court officially ordered a retrial. On September 26, 2024, 58 years after his arrest, Hakamada was acquitted. The prosecution, facing undeniable evidence of their mistake, waived their right to appeal in October 2024. His innocence was confirmed. The price of 46 years in March 2025, a Japanese court awarded Hakamada 217 million yen, approximately $1.40 million in compensation. That's about 12,500 yen, or $83 for each day he spent in prison. Hopeful, his lawyer Hideo Ogawa called it the highest compensation ever granted for a wrongful conviction in Japan, while also stating, "I believe the state has committed an error that cannot be rectified with 200 million yen, $83 per day for being tortured into a false confession, $83 per day for living in solitary confinement, $83 per day for the constant psychological torture of not knowing when you'd be executed, $83 per day while your mental health deteriorated so badly that lawyers now describe him as living in a world of fantasy." The system that never learns. Hakamada is the 5th death row inmate in post-war Japan to avoid execution through retrial. All 5 were proven to be wrongful convictions, yet Japan still maintains a 99% conviction rate and continues executing people. The prosecutor general even called Hakamada's acquittal unacceptable, leading Hakamada to file a defamation lawsuit in September 2025 demanding an apology. Police Chief Takeyoshi Suda apologized on behalf of the Shizuoka Prefectural Police in October 2024. But here's the thing about apologies after 46 years. They don't give you back your life. They don't undo the trauma. They don't restore the decades stolen from you. Why did everyone hate him? So why did Japan hate Iwao Hakamada until 2025? Because the system told them to. Because the media declared him guilty before the trial ended. Because in Japan, questioning authority, questioning the police, questioning the courts is seen as disrupting harmony. Because admitting mistakes would mean the entire justice system is flawed. And in a country obsessed with perfection, that's unacceptable. Hakamada's case exposes the dark reality behind Japan's safe society and low crime rates. It's easy to have low crime when your police force has a 99% conviction rate. It's easy when confessions can be extracted through 23 days of interrogation without a lawyer. It's easy when the system is designed to produce results, not justice. The fight continues despite his acquittal. Hakamada is now 89 years old. His mind is gone, destroyed by decades of solitary confinement and the constant threat of execution. His sister Hideko, the woman who never gave up, finally saw justice. But at what cost? Amnesty International has called for Japan to abolish the death penalty to prevent this from ever happening again. The Death Penalty Project warns that Japan is careening towards the execution of an innocent person if they don't reform. But Japan continues executing people. The system that destroyed Hakamada is still operating today, unchanged. The truth. So when you hear about Japan's 99% conviction rate, remember Iwao Hakamada. Remember that 5 death row inmates were saved only because they got retrials. Remember that if they had been executed before DNA evidence emerged, nobody would ever know they were innocent. Japan didn't hate Iwao Hakamada because he was guilty. They hated him because their perfect system said so. And admitting that system is broken? That's the one thing Japan refuses to do. Comment below if you think Japan's justice system needs to change. And subscribe because we're investigating more injustices that the world ignores. Hakamada spent 46 years on death row for a crime he didn't commit. And Japan gave him $83 per day as compensation. Let that sink in. See you in the next one. Fine, Viet.